Welcome to the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Now, every school is unique and will provide you with different experiences, and we thought who better to explain to you what a school has to offer than a student who actually goes there. Our goal in this series is to give you a firsthand perspective of every dental program in America and ultimately help you make the right decision. So today we'll be showcasing Jordan Brown, who is a D3 at University of Michigan School of Dentistry. How are you doing today, Jordan?
I'm doing well, Tyler. I appreciate the invitation to be a part of this new platform you guys are starting here.
Oh, no, man. I definitely appreciate you, man. I know you're busy in clinic now. As you get past all the didactic classes, I know you're still really busy. So, no, we appreciate you taking the time out today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, great. And so just kind of start the interview off, Jordan, can you kind of tell the audience where you're from, where you went to undergrad, and why you chose dentistry?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jordan Brown. Grew up in Orlando, Florida. Graduated undergrad from Morehouse College. So it's an all-male liberal arts school in Atlanta, Georgia. From there, moved up to Michigan for dental school. So I've been kind of moving around place to place for a little while now. For dentistry, when I grew up, I was this awkward, gawky kid, teeth 2 sizes too big for my face. So I was just a real awkward kid, and I had, self-esteem issues and all this other stuff. I was eventually able to get braces and, I saw the changes my smile had undergone. I got more self-confidence, started making new friends. And so when I was thinking about, my career choices and what I wanted to do, I was thinking back to, what kind of inspired this transition in my life. And so it kind of, when I thought about it, it kind of came from, the changes my smile had undergone. And so from there, I wanted to originally be an orthodontist to give people that same level of satisfaction that I got. But then just from shadowing dentists and being around that environment, I gained a better appreciation for the therapeutic aspects of dentistry. And so now my goal is to essentially be a comprehensive general dentist that dabbles in basically everything. Yeah, it's kind of how I got my start in dentistry.
Great, great. And so everybody, I met Jordan, what was it, five years ago, or like
it was a long time ago.
Actually, yeah, hold on, but that would have been like 6 or 7 years ago.
I think it was 2013.
Okay.
Because we met at a summer internship at UCLA. Yep. It's called the Summer Health Professions Education Program now, but back then it was called the Summer Medical and Dental Education Program. We're both at UCLA in 2013.
Great experience. I kind of wanted you just to because I know you're on the board of some sorts now. Can you kind of just speak about how you feel like these summer programs really increased your chances of getting into dental school?
Yeah, so I'm on the alumni advisory board now for the Summer Health Professions Education Program, SHPP. And so that was really my first formal experience to understanding the dental school process, understanding how to combat health disparities, and actually just understanding what it takes to be a successful dental school applicant, because a lot of resources are out there in order to just educate us about how to get into dental school. And it's just about accessing those. And so not only was the curriculum that UCLA provided us a great foundation for learning how to get into dental school, but just networking. So like Tyler, I met this man 6 years ago, and now we're both in dental school going to be dentists. So just establishing your network is of vital importance, and that's kind of where it started.
Definitely huge. Everybody should always try to take advantage of the summer opportunities like the both of us did. It definitely will take you a long way. But now let's go ahead and start talking about your school a little bit. For people who don't know, what city is your school in the state of Michigan?
Sure. So the University of Michigan is in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's one of the most robust college towns in the nation. I don't even know. For undergrad, I think like 40, 50,000 students maybe go. 50 is maybe a little high. Maybe 40,000, I think. So it's a pretty big college town.
Okay. And so outside of the college town, is there anything, or is it just kind of like land until you get to wherever, Detroit? I don't know about Michigan.
No. So Ann Arbor itself, I can't remember what was built here first, either the school or the city. I feel like the school came maybe first, and then the city was built around it. But there's Detroit there. There's surrounding places like Ypsilanti. So there's a lot of different like food options. There's a lot of bars, like nightclubs. So it's a pretty vibrant little city.
Okay, okay. And you said that the undergrad has what? You said 40,000 around
Yeah,
there.
maybe like 40,000 or so. It's a lot of people.
So let's talk about your actual dental class. How many people are within your class?
So my class, I believe I have 109 like traditional students.
Mhm.
During our third year, we have an internationally trained dentist program where people from across the world who are already dentists will join our class during our third year. And
Okay.
so for them, I think there's around 30 of them or so.
Okay.
And a lot of them, when I was just getting to know them, a lot of them already specialized, like they're like pediatric dentists. One was like combo between like endo and peds, and then they're coming over here, and I was like, they're trying to teach you guys how to do restoration. It's like you guys are way beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah,
no,
so
no.
total maybe like 140-ish or so around there.
Okay, so that's about a little bit above average as far as class sizes. Okay. And so besides Michigan being a great school, I mean, I think it's definitely ranked number one amongst some type of some of the
Yeah,
different scales or whatever it may be. What were some of the other key things that really made you say, this is where I want to go to dental school?
sure. That's a great question. So for me, graduating from Morehouse College, it's an all-male school. It's predominantly African American. And so one of the things that I was really looking for in dental school is support for my culture and finding a school that has a diversity, equity, and inclusion essentially department. And so when I was looking at schools and interviewing at them, one of the questions I was asking is, if I were to be struggling as a dental student, what type of resources do you have to support me as a student? And so at Michigan, there was a D4 or D3 at the time, a student who also graduated from Morehouse. The assistant dean for diversity, equity, and inclusion, he was a Morehouse graduate. And so I knew kind of a lot of people that already went there, and so I knew that if I was struggling, I would have people there that could kind of support me and guide me through the process. Um, Next thing is that it was a large school environment. That's something I always wanted to experience.
Mhm.
So coming from a small liberal arts school for undergrad, I never got to go to the big football games. I never got to um, see what a real frat house looked like. I was walking here as when I was first on campus, seeing these frat houses, like these are mansions. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
And then the robust resources of a large university, things like our first year we had like head and neck anatomy, and so they had like a cadaver lab. It's the first time I ever seen a cadaver, and just large university resources like that is something that my small school didn't really have access to.
Right, right,
Um, those are two main things, and then early clinical exposure is one thing that Michigan kind of emphasized. That was a big one that big reason why I wanted to go there as well. And the reputation of Michigan is one that also attracted me.
Great, great. And so now I'm going to ask you to kind of go back in time,
Yeah,
what 3, 4 years now, and kind of speak about your interview. A lot of people are always really anxious about it. Can you kind of walk us through your day from the second you stepped on campus until the end of the day for your interview?
sure. So at Michigan, let's see, I walked in, I think I walked in on the wrong floor. And so I was just,
It happens. It happens.
I was walking around trying to find where to go. I think they had like signs put up. So I was like following the signs. They took us up to the faculty alumni lounge. So it's like the tallest floor of the building. Walked in there, and then they have like a conference table set up. Everyone's dressed up in their suits. It's funny because they always talk about like suit attire for interviews, and they say like neutral colors, nothing really crazy, like nothing like no sharp red tie or anything like that. I remember seeing this guy at my interview. He was wearing like all black, like black suit, black undershirt, black tie. He's going to a funeral. I was thinking, I was like, that's a bold choice, man.
Hey,
He ended up
did
being
he get
in
in?
my class. Yeah, he got in. He
Hey,
ended up getting in.
whatever works, right?
He's one of my good friends now. I remember just laughing at telling him that story, and I was like, it was funny. But anyways, yeah, we had like a conference table, and they go through like all the admission stuff, the cost of attendance, clinical exposure, all the things you normally do at an interview. They gave us lunch, and then And then so Michigan's interview is a little bit different. So we have like this multiple mini interview process.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that is instead of like a traditional interview where it's like one-on-one or maybe one-on-two, like most schools, it's like multiple short interviews and basically like a large room. And so Michigan, what they do is they make us sign like a non-disclosure agreement. So we can't tell you a lot about the process. But we can say that basically it's like, you'll walk down into one of our older sim labs, and it's basically just a giant room. And then all your applicants are in there, and everyone's interviewing at the same time. And so it's kind of like you'll see like a card, like a prompt that you'll see. And so everyone sits down, and they're like assigned like stations, so to speak. You'll get your card, and then they'll start like the timer, and then you'll read the card. The prompt will be on there, and then whenever you're ready, you just start talking. And so for me, like my first station, I'm like looking at it, reading it, and then I'm hearing everyone else start talking. And I was like, I can't focus right now. It's hard to focus. Everyone in the room is just talking. It's like, why am I not talking yet? So that was in the questions. They weren't crazy difficult. I think that I answered them, I guess, decently, but just that initial kind of hearing everyone talk and I wasn't talking, it was a little like heart starts beating a little bit. But then after the first interview, you kind of just say, okay, next station, and then you go to the next one, the next one, the next one. And then I can't remember how many it was, 10 or 15 of them, I can't remember. And then you kind of go back up to where you started at. You'll go on a tour of the school. You'll walk through like our simulation lab or the pre-clinic lab. And then I think we end with like a Q&A of current dental students.
Okay. All right. So that one part seems kind of interesting, but then after that, it seems pretty smooth after that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, it's that initial kind of I guess initial
Tension.
fear,
Yeah.
not seeing anything, but I mean, after a while, after you kind of get into the rhythm of it, it's not bad.
Okay. All right. Great. And so obviously you got in. What was that first week like? Did you all have some type of orientation, or did you all kind of start anatomy day one?
So I was in academic pre-orientation,
Okay.
and so our school had orientation for like most people, and we had like academic pre-orientation. And from my understanding, it was from people of like diverse backgrounds. And so for me, I guess my point was I was coming straight from undergrad, whereas a lot of people maybe took a year off. Some people were older individuals coming back. And so we started, I think, a week earlier than most people. And during that time, it was kind of giving us introduction into what to expect, resources available if we're struggling. We did, I think, a Myers-Briggs personality test during that time, and we met with one of the faculty members and kind of went over our results with them. And so it was a really relaxed week. I think we went on a tour of the school, maybe got to meet current dental students, went through Q&A with them. But that was pretty much the pre-orientation, and then orientation was really similar, kind of the same stuff. And then I remember the day before not the day before, but before we started class, our like head and neck anatomy professor sent us the syllabus and like required reading for the first day, and it was saying you're going to like the anatomy lab your first day of class, and make sure you look at the lab manual so you know what you're doing. I'm looking at it, I'm like, this thing is like 30 pages. What are you what are you talking about? And I was like, I texted like my D4 or I think it was a D3 at the time, my D3, but he was like, do I have to memorize this whole thing? Like, he's like, I'll be familiar with it. And I was like, dang, it's long. But yeah, that was kind of the first week. And then, and we didn't have to, and when we got to the sim lab, we didn't have to know every single thing. We could have the lab manual open with us, but there was just kind of that was kind of what the initial kind of week or a few weeks was like.
Okay. All right. Great. And so, say somebody's watched this interview so far, and they're like, you know what, I'm really interested in going to University of Michigan. This is where I want to be. What's something that you would recommend that they definitely have on their application, whether it be like community service or 200 plus shadowing hours? Like, what's that one piece that you think that Michigan really looks for?
Honestly, I think Michigan looks for the same stuff that every school looks for. They want well-rounded applicants. I
Mhm.
think that, like you said, shadowing is of utmost importance. How can you go into a profession if you don't know, what they do? So
Exactly.
I think bare minimum have that shadowing experience to show that this is something you are interested in doing, and that you know what you're getting yourself into, because let alone the time commitment, but also the financial commitment of going to dental school
Yeah.
is something that should be heavily be considered.
For sure. For sure. For
And so
sure.
just having that shadowing experience is something you'll definitely want. Also, in terms of just creating a good dental school application for any school, is try to be well-rounded. Don't focus all your eggs in one basket. Try to be, when I was applying, I tried to create a bulletproof application. If I was sitting on an admissions committee looking at my application, what is something that I could pick out of it? And so I sat there and reviewed my application like I was one of them. And to be honest, on my application, there's nothing that they could have said or could have pointed out that would have given them a reason not to at least give me an interview.
Right.
So like I had a solid DAT, I had a solid GPA, I had my extracurriculars, leadership stuff, research, summer internships, all that fun stuff. And so if you're really interested in going to dental school, and not just Michigan, but any dental school, try to just be well-rounded, and just because you may have a lower DAT or lower GPA, that's just one small aspect of an entire application. Be well-rounded. If you do have maybe a lower GPA or a lower DAT, make sure you have really good leadership positions that are showing that, hey, that might not be the greatest, but look, I'm being involved in my campus. I'm, president of this, or liaison for that, and just try to create a well-rounded application. Research, I mean, Michigan, it is one of a research institution, and so research would help to have on your application, but it's not required. I have a lot of classmates that never did research in undergrad and they still got accepted, but
Okay.
so it'll help but not required.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's, like you said, the new, I don't want to say trend, but the new standard of all dental schools. You have to be well-rounded. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
think that if they just have a superb GPA and DAT, they'll automatically get in. But I mean, honestly, it's really not the case.
No,
It's really
because
not the
yeah,
case.
with dentistry, and the more that I'm in clinic, I realize that the academics of getting good grades, it means very little. You have to be able to talk with a person
Yeah.
and just understand and communicate. Communication is by far one of the most important attributes a person can have. You just have to have a baseline level of intelligence to say that you can understand dentistry and why we do things, but being able to communicate with patients is by far much more important
It's
than
huge. And
the
it's a skill. I always try to tell people, like, you might not be the most social person now, but over time, if you make that conscious effort in order to get out there and have these different conversations, you'll get better at it.
exactly.
So yeah, if you're definitely somebody who's not that right now, applicants or anybody watching this video, definitely know that you can become better. Don't just
Yeah,
rule out because you might be shy, whatever you may be. Because I mean, Jordan said, you just said, Jordan, that you were shy early on
yeah.
in your life, and obviously, that's not true now. But
Yeah, no, I was talking with my mentor about this today, because I told him that I used to be an introvert, and he was like, "Jordan, what are you talking about?" And I was like, over time, dentistry and life in general kind of develops you into the person that you need to be,
yeah,
especially with repetition. When you're so used to meeting new people on a day-to-day basis, that you get used to having these conversations. And I guess, at least for me, it's I used to be really shy, really introverted, but over time it'll come with practice. Like, I was considering, a career in computer science. That's the furthest thing away from being social as you can get,
yeah.
by yourself in a computer typing away. So,
Definitely.
if anyone, if you are shy and you are a student, I mean, you'll be developed into the person that you need to be.
Great. And you actually mentioned clinic earlier with regards to relationships with patients. Um, what is like the clinic system at Michigan? Do you all shadow second year, first year, and then you go into clinic third year? Like, what's the whole timeline with that?
Yeah, so I think that we're first exposed to clinic during our first year. I think it's second semester of our first year, because we start in the summer. So in the fall first semester, that's when you start assisting in clinic.
Mhm.
And so you'll at least go up there and you'll be assisting a D3 or D4 student. And really you just go up there and just, hey, my name is Jordan. I'm a first year student. Would you, where, would you, what, can I assist you, basically, is it all right if I assist you today? And it's like, yeah, sure, come on in. And so that's when you start doing that. And then you'll do your first like cleaning or prophy, D2 summer, maybe. Yeah, D2 summer or D2 fall, pretty early on in D2 year. And those patients are assigned to what we call our foundation clinic. So it's on our like our third floor, and that's basically they really reduce fees because if you're a D2 doing a cleaning, it's gonna be slow. Like my first cleaning, patient barely had any plaque, took me 3 hours. And that's just that's part of the expectation. You're at a school and we're learning. Um, so at D2 summer, yeah, D2 summer, I think was my first cleaning, and we practice on each other before we start practicing on patients. And then D2 winter, that's when your schedule really starts to pick up. And so this is the time when you have your normal classes, like your lectures, you start getting thrown into clinic, and it's also the time when you take boards usually. And so it's a lot of stuff going on D2 winter. But that's the time when I think our D2 students, they're in clinic maybe 4 days out the week, like 4 half days, like 4 slots available. So I think they can see maybe 3 or 4 patients a week, and that it kind of varies depending on if they have like a rotation in the radio clinic or something. But 3 or 4 open slots where they can schedule patients. And then D3 year, that's when you're really just thrust into the madness of it. You have less lectures, less classes, and a lot more time to just schedule your patients. So that's where I'm at now. Right now we have, I think, maybe 3 or so lectures that we actually have, maybe 3 or 4 classes, but the bulk of my time is just spent with patients. And so the thing I like is that we're able to just schedule our own patients to our own schedule. And so right now we have kind of flexible scheduling. So on some days we can schedule at 8:30 in the morning to like 10:30. If we want, we can see another patient at like 10:30 or 12. And then if we want to schedule an extraction the same day, we can schedule like 1 to 2, and then see another patient from like 2 to 5. And so it's all about catering your schedule to being the most productive you can be. Because if I have a patient that needs like a cleaning, I'm not going to book out 3 hours to do it on a Monday, because that's just too much time for a cleaning and I can't schedule another patient then. And so just having the flexibility to schedule my own patients is nice. We do call and schedule them ourselves. And so when I'm calling patients, or when patients are assigned to me and I call them, I'll give them my Google Voice number. And so if for everyone who's unfamiliar with Google Voice, it allows you to have another cell phone number tied to your same cell phone. So I don't give them my personal number. It's like a Google Voice number. When they call it, it just goes to my cell phone. And so I tell all my patients, you can call or text me anytime, day or night, doesn't matter. And that just gives them that connection to, hey, if I ever have an issue, you can contact me. Like I was just talking with a patient, a few hours ago that's in severe dental pain. I was like, okay, well, I have an opening on Monday from 1 to 3. Come on in and let's see. And so yeah, and then D4 year. Oh yeah, and then D4 year. It's pretty interesting. We have 3. It's pretty much the same thing. A lot less classes, a lot more open spots to schedule your own patients, and we go on rotation for 3 months out the year. And so this is when we go to somewhere like a community health clinic, and we work there for an entire month. And so my first one is in Grand Rapids, which is a city around I think 2 hours outside of Ann Arbor. And so I'm totally blocked out of my schedule here for a month, where I move up to Grand Rapids. School pays for a hotel there, and I'll stay there for a month, and I work in a community health clinic where I have like dental assistants, there's a dentist there, and basically I'm just working on my skills in a setting outside of the dental school. And all the D4s all the 4th-year students I've talked to so far about that just say it's great because you feel like a real dentist. They trust your clinical judgment. Yeah, they still check what you're doing, but you don't have all the minutia that's involved with being at the dental school.
Right.
And then with getting new patients at our school, we have like a patient request form that we have online. So for me, if I feel like I'm missing something in my patient pool. I'm like, I really want some more operative, or like I want to do an extraction. I want to do some dentures. Like I love OS. I love extractions. And so on my like request form, I said, hey, Clarissa, I'm really nice. I say, I humbly request a patient that needs extractions for like a denture or something. And so if I'm doing extractions, I usually break it up into 2 or 3 stages where I'll do like the back teeth and the front teeth. And so she'll review it, someone else will review, and they'll say, okay, Jordan, yeah, we took a look at your patient pool. You don't have anyone like that. Let's give them to you. And so I had 2 patients like that who were assigned to me. And yeah, they both needed full mouth extractions for dentures later on. And so yeah, we planned it and we're gonna do it. And you see a lot of stuff in dental school, a lot of sad stuff, but it teaches you empathy and compassion. So like this quick example, like one of my patients that needs a full mouth extraction, young person, young patient, 30 years old, generalized decay in the mouth, and she's early 30s and we're about to dentulate her or take out all her teeth and give her a denture. And so stories like that are sad because she's going to be having that denture for the next 50, 60 years. But there are just things like that you see in dental school. And so for all the pre-dents out there, I know some people think like deciding between dentistry and medicine, it's like, oh well, dentistry, it's you're not gonna ever tell someone that they're gonna die, or people like going to the dentist, things like that. Now you definitely see crazy stuff in dentistry. I mean, even one of my classmates, he diagnosed a patient with cancer. So yeah, there are a lot of things that you see, but I don't get all gloomy. Like it's still fun. Literally, I love and I truly enjoy going up to clinic, but yeah, that's kind of how the patient request system works. And we also have 4 clinics. So I'm on the 2nd floor. We have 2 clinics on each floor, and you're randomly assigned to your clinic when you start your school year. Mm-hmm. And so you can't jump from clinic to clinic. You just stay in your same one all 4 years. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's pretty much how the patient system works. You're responsible for managing all your own patients. You're graded on how well you manage your patients. So let's say I have a patient who's overdue for an exam and cleaning, and it tells me on my online list that, hey, Jordan Brown is your patient. They are overdue for an exam and cleaning. And if I haven't called them and tried to schedule them, my patient management grade will actually go down. Kind of a way to make sure you're taking care of your patients. And then lastly, I'll just say in Michigan, we're graded based on our test cases. So let's say if I'm doing something like a deep cleaning on someone, I'm graded on how well I do it. But also we have a point system at our school. And so by the end of our D4 year, we need to have basically 1,200 points, or we call them CEUs, to graduate. And each procedure has an associated number of points. So like cleaning is 1 point, extraction is 0.75 points. And so that's kind of like our internal incentive program to make sure we're working and getting our stuff done. So that way, when it's time to graduate, we don't have to come back after graduation and get the rest of the points that we need to graduate.
Okay, great. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So
I know there's a lot of information there.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to see the similarities amongst our system. It's pretty much the same, whereas, we have a point system as well. We're allowed to go and find our own patients, but typically we get assigned patients each month if they sign up. But do you all also have the system whereas your bigs can kind of pass patients down to you all after they graduate? Do y'all have that also?
Yeah, so similar to Tufts, we can bring in our own patients. A lot of D2s do that because they're kind of just getting introduced in the clinic, and so that's when times like, hey, mom and dad, come to me for my cleaning and exam, things like that.
First patient,
yeah, exactly. And so for a lot of the D2s, they bring a lot of their own patients. A little harder for people that are out of state. Mom and dad probably going to fly from Florida, to get their teeth cleaned. But I forgot the question. What was the question?
No, so I was saying your bigs.
Right. So it's great because part of you getting points is there's a lot of strategies for getting points. And so just like a real private practice, you can have passive income. So like if you have your own practice and you have a hygiene department, you're not doing the cleaning yourself. But if you're the dentist and you're the practice owner, you still get paid based on your hygiene department. Michigan's the same way. So let's say I have a patient if I bring that patient in and I do the cleaning myself, I get 1 point, right? But if I have that patient and they are due for a cleaning and they've had an exam by me in the last year, if I temporarily assign that patient to our hygiene department and they do the cleaning, I'll get 2 points.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
or or if I don't give it to the hygiene department, if I have a D2 who's just getting introduced to clinic, if they do the cleaning, I'll also get 2 points. So it's like a way to passively get income, which is another way that you can get points to graduate. And that's kind of one way that people, if you're really proactive about getting your patients and getting them their cleanings on time, that's just kind of an incentive to do that basically. But kind of part of that big system is that for my D2s that are kind of part of my family, like our big system, I'll give them like, hey, this is my patient, they're due for a cleaning, can you please schedule them? And so what I'll do is I'll put a note in our computer. Our patient care coordinator will review it and they'll say, okay, yes, they've had an exam in the last year. D2, yeah, they can do it. They'll assign them to our D2, and my D2 or second year student, they'll schedule the cleaning and then they'll do it. Okay. So, and we can do that for cleanings, simple fillings. For a simple filling, I'm not sure if I still get the points for that or not. I think I'm not sure if I get the points or not for it, but definitely for a cleaning, I'll get 2. If I do it, I'll get 1. If they do it, I get 2. But if it's something like a denture case where you're working on it, for multiple appointments, that's something that you can't just give it to someone else, because that's a process that one person should probably maintain throughout.
Okay. All right, cool. And so now we're going to go ahead and switch gears a little bit. Mental health, I think it's a huge current topic amongst dental schools, amongst everybody. I'm sure our audience has heard about stories of, oh, dental school is so stressful, blah, 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 whatever it may be. I want to ask you, how do you maintain your mental sanity whilst going through the crazy journey that dental school is?
That's a great question, because especially coming from Florida, coming to Michigan, the cold, like seasonal affective disorder, that is real. When you wake up and it's dark, go to school all day, and you come back and it's dark, never see sunlight, that is like real, especially when I was studying for boards, like it's a lot. And so for me personally, what I did, and everyone's different, my outlet is the gym. I told myself that when I'm studying for boards, I'm still going to go to the gym 5 days a week. I may not go in there for an hour and a half, like it may be a 45-minute workout, but I'm going to still go in there and I'm still going to do it because that's something I'm passionate about. That's something that I love to do. Everyone has something that they like to do outside of dentistry. Mm-hmm. I recommend, regardless of your schedule, make time for that. Don't find time, make time, because if it's set in your schedule, it's a lot easier to accommodate than, when I finish this, and this, then I can go, then I don't have time to go to the gym. It's like, no, put it in your schedule and do it. And by doing that, it just helped me maintain just my mental health throughout the entire board process. A lot of people, I guess the common theme with studying for boards is a lot of people cram for 2 weeks, works out well, they pass. For me, I'm not a big crammer, and everyone works differently. For me, I wanted to maintain my gym regimen while I was studying for boards, while I was doing clinic, while I was seeing patients. So I took 2 months to study for boards. That's a lot longer than most people. But what I did was I studied pretty much every day for boards, maintained my schedule. And when I finished my exam, I knew I had a really positive feeling that I passed. A lot of people are a little unsure, maybe not, but I wanted that peace of mind that, okay, when I took it, I was ready, and I was pretty sure I was going to pass. And so me working out is my outlet, and you have to be purposeful, if that's a word, with your scheduling. So just put it in your schedule. If you like doing yoga, do your yoga. If you like painting, do your painting. But make it a point to include that in your schedule. It's going to be hard because you're going to have exams on exams on exams, and it's going to be hard for you to say, no, I need to stop studying right now and go do this. But it's definitely important for your mental health just to make that time for yourself.
Definitely. You have to be calculated in dental school. And time management is key. Because like you said, if you do not put it in your schedule, you're never going to find the time to go. I'm struggling right now. We have finals coming up. I'm going to go to the gym as a break. But no, you have to literally like find that piece of time and say, no, regardless of where I'm at studying, I'm gonna go work out, get my mind off of all of the books, all of the didactic class for a little bit, and really just focus on this workout so that when I come back, everything will be all right. So
Yeah, and like just take Tyler for example here. He messaged me, says I'm coming back from a review session, but he's still doing this interview right now. So you time for the things that you want.
Exactly. And so, really quickly, I want you to kind of give the audience a sort of experience that you've had while being at University of Michigan Dental School that really made you say, you know what, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm glad I made the decision to come here. Like, do you have any like personal, like not super personal, but you know, relatively personal experiences that you can share with us that made you really feel that way?
Hmm. Yeah, I think two come to mind. Um, I think the immediate one was when I was in Chicago for the ADIA. I saw Tyler there, and so when I was rooming with one of our profs residents, Dr. Gordon, and so I was hanging out I was hanging out with Dr. Gordon, Dr. Esther, our assistant dean for diversity, equity, inclusion, and then a few other faculty members. We were out at dinner, and I was asking, hey, you guys want to go and wake up in the morning and go work out? We're like, yeah, let's do it. And so we ended up waking up, I guess, early, like before all the events of a DS started. I was like six, I think 5:30 or 6 in the morning, something like that. And we're just all in the gym working out. And then our dean of our dental school, Dean McCauley's in there too. And so we're just having this great conversation, just talking about IDEA, talking about the gym and maintaining health and well-being. I was like, this is great. You know, like the dean, she knows me personally. You know, I'm working out with faculty members. And it was just like, wow, this is a great support system that I have here, knowing that not only am I friends with, you know, my classmates, but I'm friends with faculty members that I can enjoy a conversation with them outside of the dental school without feeling like, oh my gosh, like I'm talking to the dean. You know, it's like she was personal. She was on on the treadmill or elliptical, just doing her thing. And it was like, wow, you know, I'm happy that this is the situation that I'm in right now. So I think that was the most recent one that kind of made me say that, you know, this is awesome. I love this.
Great. And so now, Jordan, we're actually at the end of our interview. And I want to ask you, do you have any last pieces of advice for applicants, not even if they're necessarily considering Michigan, but just kind of in general? What was like some golden gems that you would give them if you were to give anybody any type of advice?
Apply early.
Yep.
That is the hands down the greatest advice, and the only thing that will, a lot of things, but that's one of the biggest things that can sharply increase your chances of getting accepted to dental school. Apply early. I think the application, if it still opens June 1st, like your application should be ready to go in that first week. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot stress that enough. Like the first week, it's ready. Like,
no, definitely.
Because it's just, if you imagine if a dental school class has, you know, 100 seats open, they're a lot more open to accepting students versus if they have one more acceptance letter they can only give out. It's like, who's going to get that last one, you know? So just applying early is the hands down the biggest thing.
Definitely. And even if, you know, you're in undergrad right now and, you know, you want to wait until summer break to study for like 2 months, whatever it may be, still get your application in. You know, don't wait until after you take your DAT.
Yeah.
Get it early and try to take your DAT as soon as possible so that the DAT scores can be sent directly to the school. Your application will be completed faster because, you know, that's huge. That's huge. And granted, you'll hear stories about people applying in October and still getting in. But, you know, just to increase your chances, I think I agree with you, and that's the main factor. Make sure you get it.
Yeah. Why take unnecessary chance if you don't have to?
Makes no sense. Like, just do it early.
If you have to apply again, that's another $600-700. Like, no, just apply early, get it out the way.
Knock it out. Once again, Jordan, thank you so much for this interview today.
Thank you.
I'm sure that some people are going to want to reach out to you. Is there an easy way for them to contact you?
Yeah, honestly, guys, if you want to message me on Instagram, my name is at symbol and then dr.skylark. So that's SKYLARK. So Dr.Skylark. Feel free to DM me, messages, questions about Michigan, dental school, fitness, anything. I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Great. And of course, we will put that in the description box below. But on behalf of Future DDS and all of our subscribers, again, thank you, Jordan. I know you're super busy. And we really do appreciate you taking the time out today.
I appreciate the invitation.
No problem at all, man. No problem at all. Everybody, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button below, as well as the subscribe and the notification bell so that you know whenever we post new content. But until next time, see y'all later.